Our next story is from Bangladesh. There was a protest there yesterday in the capital Dhaka. Though perhaps protest is not the right word, the participants called it a bulldozer procession. They had scheduled it to coincide with a speech given by their ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. It was a threat. If she dared to make an address, the protesters would use their bulldozers. Well, Sheikh Hasina did make her speech and the protesters tore down her ancestral home, the house of the founder of their country, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. It's the house he declared independence from, and it's where he was assassinated. Now it is a pile of rubble. Here is our report.
Last night, we saw history being dismantled. A legacy of Bangladeshi independence being trampled upon. Last night, a bulldozer procession made its way through Dhaka. And a mob tore down Dhanmondi 32, the house of Bangladesh's founding father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. The house was already in ruins before last night. It had been set on fire last August, after protesters in Bangladesh ousted their former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. She was forced to resign and flee Bangladesh last August, but that wasn't enough to quell public anger. So they started dismantling everything associated with Sheikh Hasina. And by extension, her father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. It didn't matter that he was the one who declared Bangladesh's independence from Dhanmondi 32. It didn't matter that he was killed in that house 4 years later. In their anger against Sheikh Hasina, the protesters torched the historic residence-turned-museum in August, and last night they finished the job. They were still at it today, picking the ruins apart.
In the last 15 years, we have seen Hasina use Mujibbat to stay in the power. Hasina used Ekattor, 71. Hasina used other chetonas, other emotions to play with people. And it is one of other emotions of her. She will say, our father were killed by the people, and people needs to vote her. Using those emotions, she stayed on this power. That's why we wanted to destroy this place.
The protesters believed that Sheikh Hasina exploited her father's legacy. She used it to manipulate people and extend her grip on power. That is why they say they targeted the house. But is that really the whole story? The protesters declared their bulldozer procession after Sheikh Hasina scheduled a speech. She was going to address her remaining supporters online. Her party, the Awami League, was to begin a month of protests. They were planning a general strike as well. Sheikh Hasina's speech was going to flag off these actions, but the protesters didn't want her to get involved in Bangladeshi politics ever again.
Why don't you leave us in peace? You and your people looted and emptied the entire country. Now live in luxury as per your wish. Why are you trying to incite Bangladeshi people again?
The bulldozer procession was a threat. If Sheikh Hasina went ahead with her speech, the protesters said she would regret it. Her family home, the site of her father's assassination, would be torn down. Hasina didn't back down after the threat, though. She went ahead with her speech. So, while she was talking, the protesters tore her family legacy down. As you can imagine, she got emotional.
বাড়িটার কি অপরাধ? ওই বাড়িটাকে কেন এত ভয়? আমি দেশের মানুষের কাছে আজকে বিচার চাই। আমি দেশের জনগণের কাছে বিচার চাই। বলুন আপনারা, আমি কি আপনাদের জন্য কিছুই করিনি? যে স্মৃতিটুকু নিয়ে দুই বোন বেঁচে ছিলাম, আজকে সেই স্মৃতিটুকু ভেঙে ফেলা হচ্ছে। এর আগে আগুন দিয়ে পুড়িয়েছে, আজকে ভেঙে ফেলা হচ্ছে। হ্যাঁ, একটা দালান ভেঙে ফেলতে পারে, ইতিহাস মুছতে পারবে না।
And what was Bangladesh's current government doing while all this took place? What did they do as their history was being torn down? They called it unfortunate and undesirable, but then blamed Sheikh Hasina for making inflammatory statements, therefore inciting the mob violence. Basically, they refused to take responsibility. This shows that Bangladesh continues to move towards mob rule, where public anger is allowed to ride roughshod over history.
We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we've put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbours were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
we were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote efforts. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion. 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.